Dave,
John,
Shane,
Chad,
these sci-fi guys.
Welcome to these Sci-Fi guys. And let me just pull all the guys on here. And we are here
Hello.
again.
What's up, everybody?
I'm here. You're there?
Yes, you're here. We're all here. Yes, we are. And what are we doing? We're doing a movie. We are doing the movie Soldier. Kurt Russell, back from 1998. Before we start,
There we go.
hey, how's everyone's week's been going?
We survived Monday, so I'll take it.
We survived Monday, yeah. And in the middle of a pouring rain, and my bus leaks a lot.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, see,
Not on me. I'm fine. It's the kids that get the wet. They
They're
get wet,
okay.
and I'm like,
They're okay.
"Hey, but I'm driving a good bus. I'm driving a new bus, so I'm like,
see,
and I
that's the
asked them-
problem.
And I said,
that is
is
the
it an
problem.
issue? And they're like, oh yeah, it's under warranty. We're gonna have to send it back and get it fixed.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. See, the old buses don't leak. That's why they get so hot in the summertime. There's no
Fair
air
point.
escaping getting in.
Fair point.
I guess so. I guess so. So, anyway, with that, let's go behind the scenes. It would help if I had my notes up, wouldn't it?
They usually
Okay. Yeah, it does. All right. Okay. We are going to start with right there. Click that button. All right. Yeah, back in 1998, the legendary Kurt Russell teamed up with Mortal Kombat and Event Horizon director Paul W. Anderson. That's the guy on your screen here. For a science fiction movie called Soldier, which is considered to be set in the same world as Blade Runner. Because they shared a screenwriter, David Webb Peoples, with that Ridley Scott classic. The film tells the story of a highly skilled, emotionally distant soldier who is left for dead. He befriends a group of refugees and faces his former superiors who are determined to eliminate them. All right. Oh, there we go. There's my Blade Runner picture. I knew I had a picture on there for that. All right. Kurt Russell. What movie have we seen Kurt Russell in? The pictures on the screen. Stargate. That's right. Yeah. Well, unlike Stargate, he only spoke 104 words in this movie.
Only 104?
104 words.
Wow.
He was in 85% of the scenes.
Yeah, I would say 100 of those words were "sir." So
Sir.
Probably. Yeah, sir. During the first week of shooting, he broke his left ankle. Then the top of his right foot 4 days later. So the entire production needed to be rescheduled. The filmmakers first shot scenes involving Russell lying down, followed by scenes of him sitting, standing, not moving, and so on. So it was just kind of a, oh man, really? All right. Budget of $60 million. Did it make money?
No.
Chad,
I'm
you
going
can't
to say
answer.
no.
I'm
Come on,
saying
John.
yes to be different.
You say what?
I said I'm saying yes to be different.
Okay, well, you shouldn't have. Grossed $14.6 million in North America.
I fully believed that, but somebody's got to say yes around here.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, Chad picked this movie, so he knew it. So he kind of had a what you call it, a inside
Hindsight.
track on this.
He
Yeah,
had an advantage.
Not with this one. Get with the Soldier and even Blade Runner. It both didn't do so well in the box office, but it became a very big cult classic.
yeah. It ended up becoming a cult classic later on, or has a cult following. Let me
Yep,
rephrase
cult
that.
following.
It's not a cult classic because there's only a very few of those.
True.
But it does have a cult following. With that, Chad will give us our questions. Here, let's move him
Oh,
up there. There we go.
Reversed it. All right. So I'm gonna get not the first one out. Dave kind of hinted at it in the back with the scene stuff. So the writer wrote another movie. Do you see any kind of reference to the movie?
No, because that implies I know the other movie.
Yeah.
I mentioned the other movie.
Yeah.
No, I know you did. That implies I've seen it and know it.
Yeah, actually, I have seen the other movie. Here you go. And I would have had no idea that the two were in the same universe. Had no idea.
I wouldn't have either.
No,
But now that you
is
say
there-
it, I kind of see it.
Yeah, I mean they're well, no, they're totally different.
Totally
movies,
different.
To me, I mean they were written way different. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe the story of the protagonist,
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of see that, but still at the same time, it's like, okay, no.
Look at the shifts. Look at the. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean that's all
Yeah.
visual
yeah.
directors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that those are a little different, but they had some similarities in there. I could see.
Yeah. So, with that said, do you think this type of soldier or emotionless you train the emotion out of the soldier out? So do you think this can be done in today's time?
No. I mean, are we talking about Kurt Russell or are you talking about the other Yahoo?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. So they were basically from orphans and they were basically just trained hard to follow orders from birth, basically, because
Yeah.
they were orphans and they were just taken. I would say in that scenario, yes, it could happen. Is it likely? No, I don't think so. Not especially with the way the movie portrayed it. With I don't know, just to me, it just seemed it just there. We'll get into some of this stuff
Mhm.
later, but there was just too many different. I don't know, just too many head scratching moments to me where I was like, really? Why did they do that? Why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. So, I don't think it would be cost effective to do also. Honestly, I just don't see it. So, what about you, Shane, John? Either you guys got any ideas on that?
I could see this in some sense. I think the concept is something that I could see possibly happening, but I don't think, like you said, Dave, I don't think it's practical. I don't think it's cost efficient. And really truly, I just don't think that it is a direction that people would want to go. I think you would want to go more in the style of more of a artificial intelligence, this kind of thing, or whether you're doing drones or unmanned or different things like that. I don't know that you would necessarily want to create this kind of emotionless, a sort of super soldier kind of thing. I just don't know that it would be in this day and age. Don't know about later, but in this day and age, I just don't think that that's the direction people would want to go. I think they would want to go more on an unmanned route kind of thing.
Yeah, I see that.
I say that's a valid point. I wasn't thinking that route, but holistically, I think if it's a question of can it be done, I think 100% yes. I think the question of would it be done, I'm in complete agreement. I don't necessarily think it would now. And realistically, I mean, Shane, you bring up a great point. I mean, we are moving a lot towards unmanned or at least even minimal manning. I know if we go the technological route, our super soldiers may even just be robotic exoskeletons. Even in the real field, we are moving towards exoskeletons with just human bodies in them. But at no point does it seem like they're trying to go for the emotionless side. Because I think, in fact, a lot of survival instinct, even thinking on that front, especially for us as humans, comes down to having emotions at some point. And I think that's a lot of where our fight or flight kicks in. And if you take away emotions, I think you take away some of that.
Mhm.
You try to program into a human brain like every response to every situation, but you just can't. And so at some point, you have to have emotion so you can avoid some of that. So I don't necessarily think we would, even though maybe we could.
You need some kind of emotion.
Emotion,
Mhm.
fear, hate, anger, suffering.
Mhm.
I know this is not Star Wars, but you gotta
I
bring it
know.
in here.
Hey, ones I had on top. So
So there's your favorite character.
I knew you wanted it. So
So get into emotionless and emotions side. Todd was raised without being show no emotions. Just be the no like, hey, follow orders to the T, yes, and go, no questions. So why did you think so why did it affect Todd so much when he left the colony?
it was a
I
plot
mean,
hole.
Well,
No, go ahead,
I
John.
don't. I wouldn't necessarily go so far as plot hole as I think they had a plot and then lost it after that moment. Because if he's going to have emotion, then he should definitely have it moving forward. Like,
Mhm.
okay, the shell finally cracked, as it were. But the fact that he comes back and then is like, nope, blank face again. Which I
Mhm.
mean, maybe that's just fighting mindset too. But even then, uh, I definitely think they tried to go the like, okay, he's cracking, he's going back to being more human route. He's just a soldier who has, some issues we'll talk about in a moment. And like, I think it tried to hit upon that, and then it completely was just like, nope, never mind. So I definitely think it was intentional, and then they forgot about it.
I would agree. The consistency of the plot kind of went kind of in and out because you saw times in there where you saw some character development and he was kind of shifting more to the quote unquote normal human kind of emotions, but then he would shift right back. And I think that it just wasn't a consistent build through it. I would have liked to have seen more of that.
yeah.
I mean, to me, the only thing I think what they were trying to do is he was away from every one of his teammates, his buddies, his civilization, and they just kind of shunned him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of, really. And it just affected him. Although he wasn't trained that way. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
he was trained with other kids around and all that. And that's one thing I meant to put in the behind the scenes. One of the kids, the 11-year-old, was his actual son, Kurt Russell's son.
Mm.
So I meant to get a picture and put that in there. I forgot to, but yeah, one of the kids was his son, so he was able to do the really good mannerisms just like Kurt did. um, I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, he was lonely. I don't know. I mean, he was starting to get the effects of other stuff in his head. When he was with the little kid, like he started getting flashbacks and stuff. So maybe those were. I mean, obviously he was pretty messed up. So
Yeah. Well, think about it. He's been trained to be show no emotions. He's then figure out a sense of belonging. He was figure out how to belong into this colony. And he's staying with a family that he sees a very tight family unit where the dad's active with the kid, the dad, and the moms, and with his wife, and all this. He even, I mean, after that point, he starting crying. You still saw the soldier play more part of it, but that little back in his head is like, the guys, I was wrong. I'm sorry. He was dying. Promise me that you take care of him. Promise me. And look at the end. And the kid came up to the cockpit. He just looked up, picked him up, and like it was nothing. Like, it's my kid. Let's go.
okay, yeah.
So Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna ask this last question. It's been asked several times, or we already hinted at it. I got another one that I'm gonna use. Dave, I'm gonna use one of yours you sent.
Okay.
So, kind of go with. Do you? Here. All right. I think you was gonna ask this one. Let me see here.
Well, while you're thinking about that, does his acting or this movie remind Shane? You can't answer this because you haven't seen any of these movies. So,
okay.
a movie we saw in our first season, John,
Gosh.
our first
Wait,
season of doing this
it gives me a
show.
list to look at least.
All right. Chad loved the movie. You can get on the Excel sheet. Go to 2023.
Oh, I already did.
Chad loved the movie. All right. Look at number 17. Does this movie not remind you of Highlander a little bit? Just
Mm.
the very
Okay.
stiff acting, the
Okay.
very,
Yes.
he's by himself. Everything is all about, and it's just one character. He's the main guy, and then everything starts attacking him. To me, that's just kind of what I was like. I was just like, man, this
Very
kind of
similar to
reminds me of
that.
Highlander.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it also reminds me now that you say that of Waterworld almost.
Yeah.
Like,
It kind
never
of
main
does
guy,
in his character.
everything attacked, but then he gets close to someone. It's very similar to
Mhm.
that too.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Very stoic.
Very
There you
stoic. Oh, that's a good word. Good word.
So,
All right.
Dave, I'm going to use this one, and I like it. So, in this movie, Kurt Russell struggled with civilian life. Do you think our current military personnel faces similar issues when they get out of the service? Wait, Dave, I want you to go to last. John?
I mean, if I think anything this movie for sure had somewhat of a handle on, I think it's that idea of PTSD. Because there are definitely moments where it just strikes him and he's back in a battle, and it completely takes him out of the element, spikes him to a point. I mean, I see where he attacks one guy in the middle of the Christmas scene, and suddenly he's just the world's kind of spinning around him a little bit. Like, I think it definitely hit that idea very well, just in terms of like, oh, he is trained, but he has been on mission, and then that still comes back and is triggered by certain things in his current element. And I definitely think if we're asking if that happens a lot now, I mean, that is verbatim like standard PTSD, like the definition of, and it's definitely a huge issue, just overall. I mean, even back to the realistically before the First World War, but we started giving it a name in the First World War with shell shock. And just that idea that is continued to be prevalent and continued to often make civilian life hard, especially on the transitional side. I mean, after a while, surely, I mean, you develop some coping skills and you get along better with it. But number one, I don't think it ever goes away, and number two, I think it's massive, massive.
All right, Shane?
I agree, and I think it's 100% on point. Having had some family members that have gone through PTSD, from what they have shared with me, these are things that they experience. And when you're in the movie, there are some things that are more dramatized than others, you might say. But I think that the overall experiences and not just recalling some of the things, but reliving some of the things that they have been through, I think is 100% accurate. And I think that I think it's always something that our military needs to continue to keep in the forefront of helping soldiers to transition back in, and helping them to find a place in society. I know there's a lot of groups out there that are veteran made, that are meant to be places and sources for people to come back in and be a part of society after they've gotten out of the military or different things like that. And I think it's a great thing, and I think it's just something we need to do more of.
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you that are just watching this for the first time, I am a veteran. I did 20 years, and I've seen this and I've experienced this. Not necessarily in the role that the movie portrayed it as, but just the military life is different. I guess is the best way to say it. Is you are trained to do things, you are taught to do things, and it's hard to forget those things a lot of times. Just like you saw Kurt Russell. I mean, his fight or flight is naturally to fight. I mean, if somebody gets in the way too close, what's the first thing? He's grabbing their throat or whatever. I've never been anything like that. I mean, I'm a school bus driver, so I better not be anything like that. But I mean, there was times where it's a real struggle, especially when you're used to the camaraderie. I can't say that word, camaraderie. Camaraderie. Thank you. When you're just so used to being other people and they've all got the same like mind, and then when you go into the civilian sector, just as a job, let's just say, and people think differently and people act differently, you're used to, that's what you're used to. You're used to, gung ho, yo, Joe. Hey, here we go. We rock on. We're this, let's get the mission done. We're going to do whatever we can, and then you get to the civilian world and people are like, oh, we'll get to that later. Whenever, and then, just a lot of that is a huge struggle. That was one of the things I really struggled with in the civilian world is, just the lackadaisical work ethic of some people, and just having to, similar to what Kurt Russell had to deal with, just dealing with people who are not like you, that are not trained the way you are, that are not, just they haven't experienced the same things. I'm not in an office anymore. I mean, there's times where, loud noises, I would jump. I mean, I am not diagnosed with PTSD, but I know I've got some of it because some things do trigger. The 4th of July, I've got to wear something, either earplugs or something. It's not as bad because I know it's coming and I can see it. But there are many times where, no kidding, that fight or flight really wants to kick in, especially at the end of at 4th of July. But so with that, let's go to plot holes. Okay, plot holes, my favorite. I don't know about y'all, but so did anybody see anything that's just kind of, hey, here we go. All right, plot hole. It's a plot hole, and you're like, all right, let's talk about it.
I think one of them we've already. Oh, sorry, John, you go ahead.
I don't know, just military execution in general. I think it's even the setup premise to get the soldier on our planet's very sloppy. I think the whole let's send these 3 soldiers up on a chain to fight this one guy and we're just going to dispose of them. Even in the setting of the film, I still don't think that's a realistic setup at all. I think they would have other ways to see if the new trained soldiers were capable. I don't think it would have been the route that they chose. Especially because
you want to at least check his pulse afterwards.
Something.
I mean, come on.
Well, also in this futuristic world, there's got to be cameras everywhere. Surely we're not like, no, they're not going to find out. This didn't happen. Let's just waste space. No. Just not realistic.
Yep.
Let's just sweep it under the rug, throw it and throw them away. Like nothing happened.
Shane, go ahead.
I would have liked to have seen a little more little more of an explanation of these new soldiers. Like I realized that they were supposed to be younger, faster, all that kind of stuff, but there wasn't a lot of build to them. It was just you have Kurt Russell and his group, and he's out there, and they're doing great, and then bam, there's these new ones here, and it's like there just wasn't a lot of build to that. I thought. Like what John said, I think that the overall military aspect and the conception of everything I thought lacked a lot. But I think also one of the biggest things, which we talked about a little bit earlier, and I'm going to come back to in my fixes, is the character development of Kurt Russell. It was very inconsistent, and I think it could have been done so much better to where you really start to like love this character and really start to feel for this character, but it jumped back and forth so much.
Shane, you just said that. I mean, I'm sure I'll touch on this later. That's one of the things is you didn't care what happened to Todd.
Yeah.
You didn't really. The movie did not get your attention enough to say, "Oh, he went through all this."
Yeah,
you
really didn't, and it could have.
You just didn't care. It could have, but you were just like, "Oh, okay." Chad, how about you?
Yeah, what I already said. I mean, what they already said is more blatant. I got more of the fixings than plot holes.
Oh, okay. Well, here you go. Here's a couple. Sending waste to another planet is inefficient and costly. How about that? I mean, that that makes no sense. Okay. Or the montage of Todd training. During the run, an obese boy falls behind and gets killed on the spot. Okay.
Yeah.
Considering how much aspects they are into their lives, that boy would have never been obese, and he never would have fallen behind. That was just for a shock factor. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was shocking.
Yeah, it was. Okay. Oh, the advanced troops on the trash planet—they're all having to wear breathing devices with gas masks. Why do they have to do that when there's oxygen there? I mean, I know why they did it, so they didn't have to pay the actors to have your face be on the screen. Yeah. And then same with the desert planet, dead bodies would be used as fertilizer, not buried in a cemetery. Just stuff like that. I mean, we already talked about most of the big hitting ones. Okay. Let's rate this thing. Okay, we are going to rate this on a scale of 0 to 5 lightsabers. Chad, you picked this movie, so we are going to have you rate this first.
All right, let's get the ball rolling down the street. But I seen this movie when I was growing up. Watched it. I mean, I'll watch it again if it's on. So I'm gonna give it a 3 for what it is. It needs a lot of fixing to make it to a 5. So 3 is 3 for me.
Okay, John.
All right. See, I've got to look at these ratings I've given some of these others, just to hold it pretty fair. Oh, see, that's a stinker. All right, I've given some higher than I thought I did. Anyway, it's definitely entertaining. There were some good action scenes that I really enjoyed, even for what the movie is. I think there's some definite key work on background elements, but I'd probably still watch it again. I mean, I think a 2 for me. I think is the fairest rating I can give it. I want to go higher though, just because I was higher on Flash Gordon, and even Waterworld gave it 2.5. I take it back, 2.5. 2.5. Waterworld's a 2.5. This is 2. Dadgummit. They're basically the same film.
Okay, Shane.
So I think this movie had so much potential and dropped it. I'll be honest with you. Now, was it entertaining for what it is? I think it was. Would I watch it again? Probably. But I think there were just some plot holes and things, and I think it just the character development was not there, and it so needed to be there to really draw us into this movie. I will say this. Just because of my little name there that Dave put me, I have to mention this. The film composer I thought did a great job. His name is Harry Gregson Williams. He did some movies such as Shrek, Chronicles of Narnia. Never would have thought that. But he really did a lot to really bring out that militaristic sort of sound. I thought he did a great job with it, and it's noted as one of the more redeeming qualities of the movie. With all that being said, I would probably give this movie a 2.5 as well, just because it had so much potential and just didn't live up to it, I feel like.
Wow. You guys are all generous. This movie to me was a 1.
Wow.
I have never seen it before. I own the movie, but I'll never see it and I'll never watch it again. I'm sorry. I've seen Kurt Russell in so many other good movies. Stargate, he was good in. We're going to watch one later on this year, a fantasy movie that he is fantastic in. You know, I've seen him in other roles that he is so good. And he reminded me of I think they tried to make him into like an Arnold Schwarzenegger type. You know,
Yes.
I can see that.
The very stiff lines, you know, but there was no comedy in it. You know, was he looking at the lady's chest or was he looking at her pendant? I don't know. You know, I thought the whole thing with, you know, it seemed like they were she was kind of flirting with him, but yet she loved her husband. I mean, it was all over the place, you know, and I don't know. I mean, I can tell you, if it would have been something like G.I. Joe, it would have been a better movie. Even the bad G.I. Joe movies were better than this. You know, I'm sorry. I couldn't, you know, I mean, I'm putting it up there kind of with Doom. You know, it's kind of reminded me of the same. It was very stiff. There was boring parts in it. There was like other parts I was just like, okay, you know, I didn't get it. So, you know, to each of us, that's what we all do. So, and next, let's go ahead and see if we can fix this movie. Now, here we are. We're going to try to fix or improve this movie. I'll just jump right in. All right. First of all, I did like, and that was probably when you were saying the music was its only redeeming quality. I liked how it showed us how they got to where Todd was at age 40.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Part 2, to fix it, is you need to, if you really like, or if you want Kane to be the bad guy, you know, that he ended up fighting and all that, you needed to see a similar montage for him, you know.
True.
True. And they should have multiple years worth of people, because you notice at the beginning, you kept seeing people die off. You know, I'm like, okay, they had a group of 10, but then you saw several of them die, but then there was still 10 at the end. How are they going to do that? I just didn't get that. Fix that and give us a good ending. Give us what did they live? How are they going to live?
Yes.
On this new planet. How are all of these soldiers who have been emotionless robots, basically, how are they going to interact with all these regular people, regular humans? You know what I'm saying? I want to see that. And I would really like to see is all of them get together and go back to Earth or wherever and shut down the program to say, no, this is not right. You cannot take, even if they're orphans, you still can't take them, or you cannot experiment on people and do this. No. So That's how I would. That would be a start, and then, the girl needs to be like a motherly figure to him. Not. I kind of got X-Men Jean Grey with Wolverine
Mhm. Yeah.
and Cyclops. I kind of got that whole love triangle thing feeling in this movie. Nix that. All right. Let's go ahead and make it a true, no kidding. Let's make it a good movie. Let's make it, all right. She's the motherly figure who is nursing him back to health or something,
Mhm. Yeah.
just something. So that's my point. Somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with make her the motherly figure that he never had. But I kind of just with this fits this. I love the part where they agree with David. Love the part where show how Todd gets there, but then that's where you leave off. He gets there and all he show him working, going through. So to really fix this, yeah, change, make him more human. Like when he's realized that motherly figure he never has. Show him the change that is making to save the colony. Show them where they going to go, how they get there, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm going to agree with some other. We already said it, and it needs to be more character development here. I agree with this, but what you didn't know who nobody was in this movie. You had Nick Nolte, or well, that's not his name, but
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
And the guy from Shield, or
Shield.
not Shield, but the TV show. Oh gosh, not the Shield. Was it the Shield? I don't know. I remember he was the bald guy, the heavyset guy, the one he saved. I
Yeah,
can't think of his name. He was a star in a it was like a 90s, early 2000s cop show, and I really liked him. And I can't think of the name of him.
but like
It
you
was-
got all that.
Nothing. Continue, Chad.
You got all that going on. Don't knowing who like Busey cared for the older soldiers. Hey, my soldiers would have done this. He kept like, but he couldn't put them in there because he was outranked by a intelligence officer that was. I got my show. My soldiers better. Show more stories behind the new soldiers, why they got there, why they needed them, and then cut out the Kurt Russell. Cut trying to be another. Don't cut out the Arnold Schwarzenegger actor. Make it more. Make him be Kurt Russell. If they would have done that, it would have probably been a little bit better movie than it was. So that's all I have.
Character development, character development, character development. Give me more on Todd. Give me more about his journey. Because like we said earlier, that's going to hook the audience in. They're going to make them actually care about him. And to me, that would have made the story a lot bigger.
Mhm.
Also, one thing Dave pointed out that I loved, give me more background on the other super soldier. I can't think of his name, but the guy that Todd fought at the end.
Kane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
King.
Yeah, give me more on him. Kind of like what you did with Todd, give me more on him. So that way, when they come together, it's huge. Speaking of that, give me more of their battle. Either a lead up to it a little bit more or more action. Give me a little more of it. Okay. So it has that satisfying kind of victory there at the end. I think that could have done something with it. But again,
Yeah.
Character development.
And I want to add something. Have his other teammates, when they realize what's going on, have them like, oh, that's Todd out there. All right. And then have them kind of, what do you want to do, sir, Sergeant?
Yes.
Or something where he's leading them, not just doing it all by himself.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So y'all have all the really good ideas tonight. So I'm going to go for the really stupid, wild ones, just for the heck. So number one, I think I have two routes I'm going here, and one is at the beginning and one is at the end if I were to fix it in two completely separate different ways. So if I were to fix the beginning and just think of that by itself, not considering the rest of the movie, I think Todd, when he falls, he loses like half of his limbs. The planet he falls on was like this junkyard-esque area. Build him back as an android, basically, right? What is the half human? Is it an android that's half human?
Cyborg.
Cyborg.
Yeah, it's a cyborg.
Where
And
are you getting into the different movie right
Now
I
I
think that's a
understand.
movie called Cyborg.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, but I say let him be a cyborg and let him go ham that way. Returning against his old enemies, or completely separate, different fix altogether. When he's doing this last battle, if he's going to be by himself, I needed it to be he had a little more time and it's a little more Home Alone-esque. Like,
Yeah.
There you go.
militarized
There you
Home
go.
Alone.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
needed from that scene, and I was missing a lot of that because, like, when they're wading through water, I was expecting full on. He hooks up
Electricity.
Yeah.
Get shocked and all that.
He stabs one guy in the eye, and he goes like this weird underwater commando mission to take out everybody else. No. I need Home Alone. He electrocutes him. We call it a day. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
Or Rambo, he comes up out of the water.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
It goes right back down under the water and then
Bow and
disappears.
arrow.
Yep.
Come up.
Yeah.
They
I
managed
love
the
it.
most boring militarized single man battle I think I've seen in a long time.
Yes.
Again, that's kind of those. I didn't mention all that, but these were a lot of the reasons why I've rated it as low as I did.
Fair.
And
Fair.
I did look it up. It was The Shield was the name of the TV show.
Okay.
It was a cop procedural
Mhm.
back from I don't know.
Late
All I know is
90s.
it's- yeah,
It
late
came-
90s. It was I understood it was a really good show. I mean, it's user reviews give it an 8.7 out of 10.
Yeah, it
So-
was a good show. It came out like it was The Shield, and that's what kind of brought on all the other cop shows, even Sons of Anarchy. It was the writer of The Shield was the same writer as The Sons.
Mm.
So
Well, I think another thing also needs to be added on this is if you're going to have all these other characters, we need to know more about them and care about them.
Agreed.
You know, I think we mentioned that earlier about Todd, but it's just like Mace. I think that was the guy's name. Was Mace? Let me look. Was that it? Mace. Yeah, Mace. Sean Pertwee. The girl's husband. I mean, when he died, you really didn't. You're like, okay, well, now we're going to see the big fight. You just didn't care. I mean, you liked that he was a father figure, but it's still, I don't know. It was so lackluster.
There was
Yeah.
no
Give us-
emotional attachment.
Give us something that we can sink our teeth into. That's
Yep.
a good word. I think that's
Yep.
a good way to end that up.
Crypto Enterprise.
Please contact us. Tell us if you agree with our ratings or how you would fix or improve this movie, or if there's a movie that you would like us to review. The easiest way to do that is if you're watching us on YouTube is to comment below. For those of you that are audio only listeners, you can reach us on either X or Facebook at TheseSciFiGuys. Or you could email us TheseSciFiGuys@gmail.com.
Well, those of you that watch us all the time or listen to us, you'll remember our last episode we did with those sci-fi guys where we fixed the franchise. That's why we didn't get a chance to even tell you what this movie was about. So anyway, we apologize for that. Well, I was able to add the intro and the outro on there because I have those recorded separately to make it easier on that. But we are going to have, this was Chad's movie this week. Next week will be John's choice. John, tell us what are we going to watch next week?
Watch the Martian. Yeah, that thing. I am super excited about this one. I know there's a whole novel adaptation. I haven't read that. I also understand
Neither have I.
it's been a while. It's just when this movie came out, I remember seeing trailers and all for it, and I really wanted to see it. And I just haven't yet. So even now, still haven't seen it, but I really want to. So
okay.
Well, Mr. IT, knock it off because he's excited about seeing this, and I haven't seen it in a while, and I thought I liked it. I don't remember. I do know I like the actor who is in it.
Yes.
So I I vaguely remember parts of it, so I don't want to say anything yet because John is going to watch it this week, and then we'll discuss it next.
I haven't
time.
watched it either, so I'm excited about it.
Oh, all right. See, these are the best ones.
I watched it one time.
I think one time I've seen it. I mean, no, I don't watch it. Some movies I'll watch over and over and over again. Most of them I won't. So I think I've seen it once, but it's been.
I've seen it once, but it's also in the same area. The Martian, there was another one just like this that came out at the same time. So I watched both of them.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way, Chad. There was two of them that came out, and I'm probably getting the two of them confused.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to this. So anyway, well, everyone, until next time.
Crash and burn. These Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by The Sci-Fi Guy Productions. Super Epic is music courtesy of Alexander Nakarita and is found on creatorrecords.com. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow us on X at The Sci-Fi Guys. For our audio-only listeners, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like, subscribe, or leave a comment to let us know how we're doing.